somehow meet UFC 280 is this weekend. I don't know about you, but it seemed like it was one of those cards that was just like always in the distant future, yet somehow it is this Saturday. And no better way to start things off than Nikita Krylov taking on Volkan No Time Oezdemir. And No Time, ran into a sort of rough stretch for a little while. He dropped two straight. He lost 5 of 7, and he didn't quite know how much time was left in No Time's tenure, but the guy that just fought Paul Craig most recently this past July looked pretty nice and seemed like a revamped version of Volkan Oezdemir, who at one point fought for a UFC title. And he's taken on Nikita Krylov, who is only 30 years old, yet somehow is a 17-fight UFC veteran. He's 10-7 overall, has a lot of nice wins, has some pretty tough losses as well. Early on in his career, he lost to Misha Cirkunov, which wasn't great. But if you look at his last 3 losses, last 4 losses, it's pretty much all studs, right? Jan Blachowicz, Glover Teixeira, Ankalaev, and then Paul Craig, who, again, Volkan just outclassed pretty recently. So what are your thoughts on this one? Do you think Krylov, even though he's the younger fighter, will show his experience in this one against No Time Oezdemir? Or do you anticipate the same guy that fought against Paul Craig shows up against Krylov and gets the job done? Who are you taking?
Yeah, I know this is such a great matchup, and this is kind of like who's keeping their position, right? Because these guys they've been there forever. I feel like they've had their ups, they've had their downs, and both these guys were pretty big at one time. Nikita looked great his last fight, so I'm very impressed with him. And Volkan really comes down to, can he stop Nikita from taking him down? He just demolished Paul Craig. Paul Craig's a jiu-jitsu guy, right? He's not the best wrestler. Nikita's actually a pretty good wrestler from his last fight. If he could keep that up, he could easily get this done and just smother and sit and maybe even get the sub. But I think Volkan knows the matchup, knows what he needs to do, keep it on the feet, piece him up, because if it stays on the feet, this is an absolute lock for Volkan, in my opinion. But if it goes to the ground, no time will tell. So I don't know. The minor could be, taking some time off of Volkan on the ground, but I'm gonna pick Volkan as a dog. I like that, and I could see him even getting a KO in the first or second round.
Very nice. And yeah, he's plus 145, and 32% of Tapology is rolling with No Time Oezdemir. Nearly half it is Brown roll for that KO TKO, and then 68% are rolling with the minus 170 favorite, Nikita Krylov, to get this one done. And I think it's going to be interesting. You brought up the Paul Craig fight and how, his wrestling is just not great, right? And
Yeah.
Volkan really made the takedown defense look pretty easy against the Bear Jew. In this one, Krylov, it's probably advantageous for him to try and get to the mat, right? Do you think that Volkan will have the takedown defense necessary to keep it from going there? I mean, yes, he did it to the Bear Jew, but is he going to stop Krylov from taking him down?
I think he will. I hope so. If he doesn't, then all hope's lost for him, because if he can't stop Nikita and he can't beat him, Volkan is just going to be kind of like a veteran fighter. Maybe a small gatekeeper. He's never going to have that title shot, which maybe he doesn't want. He's just going there for hey, I had my chance and now I'm just here to be here. Same with Nikita. So it's really who comes down to, like, who wants a title shot more. Because I feel like both these guys been kind of lagging, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. That's why you see their records, with the up and down for the last couple of years. But maybe they got a new hunger for maybe one more shot at a title run.
Yeah, perhaps. We'll see who does have a new lease on life, so to speak. But in this one, I got to roll with Nikita Krylov. I think he's going to find a way to get this one done. A slim majority of Tapology is rolling with the decision for Nikita Krylov, and I actually think that'll probably be the best idea. I can see a world where Oezdemir at times keeps this fight on the feet and therefore prolongs rounds, but I just see Oezdemir ultimately not being able to stop enough of the Krylov takedowns, and Krylov will steal rounds in what will be likely a snooze fest. Call him Volkan Snoozdemir. So, taking Krylov, any last thoughts on this one?
No, absolutely could be a Volkan Oezdemir. Would not surprise me. But in time it'll show. But yeah, going with Oezdemir, no time. Throw in the comments who you got, the minor or no time.